Hello everyone! In STRAP 2023, the selection process for nodes, beams and elements has been improved and new features have been added. In this video, we will present the new selection features and demonstrate them on some practical examples. We will start with beam selection. Select a feature that requires beam selection. For example, defining releases at beam ends. After pressing OK, the beam selection process will start, and the following features may be used. You can select individual beams by left-clicking on them. To select by window, press and hold the left mouse button and release it where you want to end the window definition. To select by polygon, press and hold the right mouse button. Release the button where you want to locate the first side of the polygon. Continue creating the polygon by clicking the left mouse button and double-click to finish the selection. It is possible to switch between the three selection modes seamlessly, at will, and with no limitations. There are few ways to end the selection process. You can right-click on the screen and choose End Definition. You can press on End Selection icon in the bottom of the screen. You can press on End Selection on the right, or press the E key on your keyboard. It is also possible to end selection process by clicking on the last selection mark on the screen during the selection process. While selecting individual beams, if we click again on the last selected beam, we will end selection. While selecting by window, after defining the window, additional click in the same place will end selection. Also, when selecting by polygon, after creating the sides and defining the polygon, despite the fact that near the cursor there is a beam with a selection mark on it, pressing the left mouse button right after defining the polygon will end selection. Now we will present more of the features in the selection menu to the right. Once the selection process has been started, the selection menu will appear on the right side of the screen. This menu will allow us to operate the selection process similarly to the previous versions of STRAP. Unlike the new selection options, if using the window selection option from the menu, the selection process will end immediately after the selection and will not continue as default. Also, while using polygon selection from the menu, it is possible to specify the polygon vertices by left-click. There is no need to right-click and drag as shown before. After the selection has been made, the process will end immediately. The Select When feature will allow us to choose how to select beams. We will be able to select beams by choosing only one node in each beam, or selecting them by choosing all of their nodes. For example, let's click on one node selected and select one node on each column by window. Now we can see that both columns have been selected. Select by Property feature will allow us to select beams with specified property number. For example, by choosing this option, the program will prompt a window with all the property numbers, and we will mark yes only for the beams we want in the selection. The Parallel To feature will allow us to select only beams that are parallel to a specified beam. For example, let's choose this option and select a reference beam. Afterwards, a normal selection process will continue, and only beams parallel to the reference beam can be selected. The collinear beam feature will allow us to select a line of beams simply by selecting one beam segment in that line. For example, let's click on collinear beam and choose one beam segment. Now we can see that all of the beams in that line have been selected. For each beam segment I will choose, all of the beam segments located on the same continuous line will be chosen as well. The Add button in the selection menu is checked by default, which means every element we pick will be added to our selection. If we press on Remove, then every element we choose will be removed from our selection. In case we selected some elements by mistake, this tool will be efficient. It is possible to rotate the model by clicking on the rotate icon on the menu and holding the left mouse button to rotate the model. After rotation, click on the right mouse button or on End in the menu to get back to selection. The Cancel Last feature will allow us to cancel the last selection groups made during the selection process. For example, let's select 3 beam groups and 1 individual beam. By clicking on the Cancel Last option, we can see that the individual beam has been removed from selection, and if we press on it again, we will see that the beam group that has been selected before the individual beam has been removed from the selection as well. The last feature regarding beam selection is Previous Selection option. It is possible to select one of the last 5 previous selections made. We can select all of the beams in the model by pressing on Select All or pressing the A key in the keyboard. For selection of nodes, elements, walls, and slabs, most of the features shown before are identical in nature. We will now present the unique features relevant for each selection group. For node selection, it is possible to limit the selection to the restrained nodes only. For example, to change all the fixed restraints to pinned ones, we will select Restrain Only and press on Select All. We can see that only restrained nodes has been changed. The Beam/Element Edge feature will allow us to select nodes located on edges of specified beam/elements. For example, to change the pinned nodes at the bottom of the walls to fixed ones, we will click on Beam/Element Edge, select Walls and End Nodes with same X3 coordinate, and click OK. Afterward, we will select the desired walls and the reference node. We can see that the restraints were applied only to the bottom edge of the walls. In element selection, it is possible to select elements by mesh. We can select element mesh, which was defined by the mesh command. After choosing this option, by clicking on it or pressing the M key, all defined element meshes in the model will be presented to us. Choosing only one element on a mesh will select the entire mesh. The in-plane feature allows us to select all elements located on a selected plane. For example, let's change the property for all the elements located on +3 level. Choose the desired property, press on Assign, pick the in-plane feature, select the reference element on the desired level, and select the whole model by a window. We can see that only elements on +3 level were selected, and if we display the elements by property number, we can see that the property number has changed. Using all the features shown in this video, the selection process, which is a very common process, can be done easily, quickly, and efficiently. Thank you for watching.